Hello everyone, I'm Brian and welcome back. Let's go and get started.
Now we have come to two important conclusions. The first one we started off with Atma Nitya, eternal, Avinashi, indestructible. You are eternal and indestructible.
And infinite?
Anatma,
Oh, no, never mind.
the not self, non-eternal, destructible, subject to birth and death. Second, not only are you eternal and indestructible, you are the only reality that there is. Atma Satyam. And not self, what we see as other, mithya, an appearance. An appearance of what? The snake is an appearance of what? The rope. There must be something for it to appear. It can't be nothing. It is an appearance of nothing other than that Atman, that Purusham Mahantam, which Swami Vivekananda speaks of, that infinite being. It appears as the not self and experiences itself in that way. This is the second great thing. Atma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Or in Vedantic terms, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Jagat Mithya means nothing other than, you can equally say everything in the Jagat is Brahman. Jagat Mithya and everything is Brahman is exactly the same thing. Swami Virajanandaji used to say, the entire world, including this body and mind, are presented to me. To me means the awareness. At the same time. So either I am all of it or none of it. Both of these will release you, will give you moksha, freedom right now. Both of these attitudes. I am none of it. They are movies in my awareness, in I the awareness. Or I am all of it. What is bondage, what is samsara, is I am only this one. And you and everything else are separate from me. I am a tiny creature in a vast and indifferent world, different from me. I play my part and I'm gone. Though I may rage against the dying of the light is going to die. It's only because I'm looking at the surface of the light. In the heart of reality, I am the source of the light. I am the light. I can never die. This is the second great conclusion. Atma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Moving on further. Krishna says in the next verse, 17th verse, Avinashi todad vidhi yena sarvamidam tatam. A very beautiful conclusion. This indestructible absolute reality, Sat, the Atman, is all pervasive. It follows immediately. Then what are all these things? They are none other than you. Atman is all pervading. Our intuitive feeling about ourselves is, I am here. I'm not all pervading. I'm not there. I'm not here anywhere else. How can I be all pervading? I'm just here. Sri Krishna says, the Atman is all pervading. Everything that you experience and do not experience, everything is pervaded by you. It sounds counterintuitive completely. But a simple example will show what is meant. Imagine your dreams. Now, don't go into a dream state. Imagine some vivid dream that you had. When you look back upon the dream from the waking state, what do you realize? That in the dream, that entire place, the roads and the trees and the sky and the lakes and rivers, I was all of that. Do you see what I mean by that?
Very, very good example. I remember him saying this a few times, and if you want to explain, I guess this philosophy, that is an amazing example, the dream. Honestly, prior to watching these things, I never thought about the dream as all being me. I've always thought I was the individual in that dream and I'm just following this life or whatever the dream may be. And it's so weird because I do remember certain dreams vividly where I was with my cousins and I never, for some odd reason, I don't know what they were thinking. They did their own thing. I didn't say, you do this. Not even in my mind, but they acted like my cousins. But yet, I only controlled my own body. I only had my own thoughts. Even the creatures and buildings and whatever else was there, and I had no control over it. It's an amazing example.
I was all of that means all of those things They were all imagined in my mind. All of those things were the dreamer's mind. All the people, not just I was there in my own dream. But other than me, there were so many other people and plants and animals, and all of those were nothing other than me. It was the dreamer's mind alone which became all of that. Can I say then, all the people, all the events, the time, the very time and space of the dream world were pervaded by me, the dreamer? Can I say that? Can we all say that? What is true? Now take one step into Advaita, into Vedanta. What is true of the dream world and the dreamer's mind? One is the dream world and the dreamer's mind. And remember, we have agreed that the dreamer's mind pervades the dream world. The same thing is true of consciousness and its objects.
This kind of goes back to a lot of things that are very fascinating in, I guess, sci-fi. Where, again, Matrix being also a great example to where we're all hooked up to this machine and we're all living this dream world. Our bodies in the machines, not our true selves. But at the same time, we're all part of this machine. And again, about the dream, how you just take it another layer back. The dream is all you, and then who you are, who you think you are now, is all this, whatever this Atman Brahman is. Again, scientists, I don't think scientists can ever disprove this. Again, well, I don't think they can never disprove it, but I don't think there's a way they can disprove it, though. I don't know. It is very interesting.
All that we have in life is consciousness and its objects. True or not? Whatever you have in life. There's nothing other than that. That's your life. Consciousness and its objects. What is true of the dreamer's mind and the world of the dreams is exactly true of consciousness and the objects of consciousness. Avinashi tu tad viddhi yena sarvam idam tatam. Know that indestructible, that to be indestructible, by which everything here is pervaded. Here means which is an object to your senses. What you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, not only to senses, object to the mind. What you remember, imagine, think, desire, love, hate, all of that is pervaded by you, the awareness. It is given existence, temporary existence, by you, the awareness, by you, the pure being, by you, which is Chit and Sat, awareness and consciousness.
Again, another thing in sci-fi, real quick. How there were some things about how the only thing real in this world. Did he just say that? Wait a minute. No, I don't think he did. Anyways, the only thing real in this world, or you could look at again another simulation actually, and the only thing real in this world is you. Everything else is a program, and you'd have no way of disproving that. Because you don't know, I don't know if France literally exists right now because I'm not there. It's kind of like, maybe you could equate it to like Minecraft, how Minecraft only creates the world around the player and everything else doesn't exist because it's too much RAM or memory. So as you progress through the different, like if you walk straight forward, the world in front of you will be created and the things behind you will be destroyed. And the only reason why you don't, and you think it's still there, but it's not. Because, again, one, you're not looking back there, so you don't know it's not there. Then as you turn, the world again will be created as you turn, so it's like it was always been there. Again, another kind of sci-fi thing where they, like, I am the only real thing in the world, everyone else is a program, and have no way of proving or disproving that. Or disproving that. There's no way to disprove that. And again, everything being hooked up to a matrix, and this thing too, where you just take it one layer back from the dream, where we're all this consciousness, and we're literally the consciousness, and we just don't know it, like in the dream. Very interesting stuff, philosophy stuff, man.
It's very simple, really. First, when we do not think about it, we just behave like bodies and minds. I have thoughts and feelings and desires, and here I am, this body. As we go into Vedanta, our first awakening is, oh, I am awareness. I am consciousness, in which I experience body and mind and the world. Are you with me so far? Can we think about ourselves as I am awareness and in which I am experiencing body, mind and world? So that's the first thing. Then we notice that the body changes, the world changes, the body changes, our perceptions change, thoughts change, ideas change, feelings change, knowledge changes. But the awareness in itself does not change. Awareness is like a steady light. Unchanging awareness. Are you with me there also? Do you at least get the trend of thought? Awareness does not change. All changes are noted in awareness, recognized in awareness, lit up by awareness. Now this unchanging awareness is what Krishna calls the indestructible Atman. If it is unchanging awareness, if it is indestructible, not subject to birth and death, then existence is an intrinsic characteristic of this awareness. If existence is you see the logic. If existence is an intrinsic characteristic of this awareness, then anything apart from this awareness is an appearance, does not have intrinsic existence. It borrows existence from awareness, just as everything in your dream borrows existence from you, the dreamer. You are Sat Chit, pure being, pure awareness, pervading everything that you experience. So the third thing that we learn about the Atman, Sarva Vyapi, all pervading. All pervading. I have told you earlier about this in the Himalayas. When this is being taught, a monk at the back, he suddenly raises his hand and he asks the teacher, who's another senior monk, a teacher. He said, just a minute. How can you say that I am all pervading? I am here and not there. And how can I be all pervading? I'm just here and not even there. And how can I be all pervading? In Hindi, मैं यहाँ हूँ उधर नहीं हूँ तो सर्वव्यापी कैसे हूँ? यहाँ हूँ वहाँ नहीं हूँ. I'm here, I'm not there. How can I be all pervading? And you know what the answer was? The teacher said, but here and there, are they not both in your awareness? The moment I say I am here and not there, I'm speaking as what? The body. Can you not say exactly the same thing in your dreams? Somebody comes in your dreams and says, you are everything here. I say, what silliness? I'm here, I'm not even there. When you wake up, who would be right? That person would be right, because everything in your dream was in your mind. Similarly, everything that we experience is, in fact, literally in our awareness. You as awareness pervade everything. That's the third point I wanted to make. Not me, Krishna wants to make in the Bhagavad Gita, that awareness, Atman, is all pervading.
That is a very, very, very good argument about the dream, and then just bringing that same understanding of the dream into reality. Again, I'm not a debater, so I don't know how. I mean, in my mind, that's a whew, I mean, you cannot deny the possibility of that, because there's no way to disprove that. I don't believe. Again, I come from I try to be as neutral as possible, even with any biases that I have. I'm aware of my biases, but in my mind, it's an amazing argument. And plus, still, even with the computer thing, where again, how you are the only reality and everything else is a computer simulation. Everything is Maya at that point, literally an illusion. You are the only real thing there. The reality even goes back further to where maybe every individual one of us is hooked up to machines within our own reality. That don't ask me why. It's just like a possibility, and we're sitting here like you watching this video. I could literally be a computer machine programmed to make this video so that you watch it, and you wouldn't know. You are the only reality. I am false, and this video that you're watching is a computer simulation just made for you because this is something that you wanted to watch. Therefore, YouTube algorithms put it in your suggestion feed or something, you know. And then if you to make the reality so real that it's like, oh, now let's make you hungry, even though maybe you're not really hungry and sleepy, or need to go to work, or need to go out and use the restroom, or whatever it may be. And the people that you walk and talk to are programmed in such a way that they learn your habits and actions and act accordingly, so that you wouldn't know any different. You are still the ultimate reality in that illusion. Everything else is false but you. So there's a lot of parallels to a lot of the sci-fi interesting things too, and it's just amazing. It's really cool. It makes you think, and I love that.
The question is all pervading, indestructible. Nothing other than that exists. But now one may ask a practical question. Where is it? We don't experience it. I experience people and events and space and time and my own body, my own thoughts and perceptions. Where is this precious Atman you're talking about? So Krishna says, he anticipates the question and he uses the word aprameyaha. Aprameyaha means, it's a very technical word. It's not an object to the instruments of knowledge. What does it mean? Instruments of knowledge. How do you know anything? We deploy instruments of knowledge. Like scientists using telescopes and microscopes, we deploy instruments of knowledge.
With our senses.
I, the awareness to know the objects of awareness, I deploy sight. I can see forms. I deploy ears. I can hear sounds. Touch, taste, smell. All of these instruments are deployed. But the Atman has neither form, nor sound, nor taste, nor touch, nor smell. So the 5 sense organs cannot objectify the Atman. I use my mind. If it's something I cannot see or hear or smell or taste, I use my mind to conceive of it, think of it, ideate, to intellectualize it. But the Atman is not an object of the mind either. Beyond mind, beyond senses. This is called aprameyaha. You might say, wait a minute. If it's beyond mind and senses, what right do you have to say such a thing exists? To say something exists, it must become an object of knowledge. True or not? Otherwise, you can imagine anything. Suppose I say...
I was about to make that argument. I was actually thinking about that. It's something that, again, a lot of Western religions believe is they affirm something to be true, and you cannot negate it. And he's like, again, it started like, oh, the gods are in Mount Olympus, and someone climbs Mount Olympus, like, I don't see any gods here. Oh, the gods are in the heavens. And then the plane flies by and it's like, oh, there's no gods here. Oh, the god is in space. And then you go to space, like, oh, the gods are in another dimension. And that's kind of my problem with that argument. It's the fact that it cannot be measured by instruments. We cannot see it, we cannot feel it, we cannot smell it, we cannot touch it, we cannot taste it. It puts this deity in a realm that there's no way to disprove it. And that's a problem in my mind. Because then you can literally say anything exists. Like, again, I said, this unicorn right here, if you're not seeing this, it's not my fault that you're not seeing it. Clearly, you don't have the sight for it. You don't have the proper instruments to see this unicorn right here. I see it. Even in the reflection of the recording, I can see this unicorn. You can't disprove it. And again, the fact that you cannot say something is true. You have to prove that it's true. You cannot say it's your responsibility to disprove that this unicorn does not exist. And if you say, oh, I can't see it, well, you don't have the eyesight to see it. So I can't smell it. You don't have the smell receptor to smell it. It's neighing right now. You don't have the hearing receptors to hear it. Oh, you're trying to grab it. It's like, oh, you don't have the touch receptors for that. So basically, I just nullified your senses. And how else can you measure it? Even if you use, oh no, it doesn't do radiation, so you can't measure it with even the instruments there. It's non-physical. It's so no matter what you create in science, no matter how far the technology has come, you cannot measure it. You cannot it's not an object or something like that. So that, and when you start stripping away a way to prove or disprove something, it becomes very difficult to believe.
Harry Potter exists. You will say, how do you know? I say, I read about it in the book. So that's a book. It's in the fiction section in Barnes and Nobles. But do you know what that means? It means it's fiction. It does not exist in this world. So there must be some object, some instrument of knowledge which objectifies the entity to make us claim that it exists in this world.
Same basic is what I was
saying. And if the
too.
Atman is not an object to any instrument of knowledge, what right do you have to say that it exists? That question might come. And so the answer, Krishna does not make it explicit there. It is consciousness, swaprakasha. Swaprakasha means self-luminous. Here is a clue to the nature of the Atman. It is not an object of the senses or of any instrument of knowledge. Rather, it is the subject. It's not. It is that which lights up all the instruments and enables you to use those instruments. It's like looking for. Somebody sees a picture. The very picture, the photograph means there's a photographer. Where? I can't see the photographer in the picture. Nowadays you can with a selfie. But in those days you could not. A portrait with a lot of people. And there's one person missing there. Photographer.
No, there was a 3-second delay so I could run and make it into the picture. No, I get what he's saying. And again, whenever he said about it being the subject, now that changes. That's the difference between, at least as far as I can tell, in terms of the Western religion and Eastern philosophies. The fact that God, and at least from my understanding of a lot of Western religions or Abrahamic religion, is separate from you, duality, and there becomes the problem. Again, because it is separate from you, therefore, and you can't measure it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It just is difficult. Now, when you say it's the subject where we're all it, that becomes a bit more difficult in terms of prove or disprove, I think, especially considering that it's something that only each individual has to experience. It is not something that we can objectify. So whenever it becomes a personal experience, in my opinion, I don't think science can touch that at all. Personal experience is something that can only ever happen in you and no one else, I think. So basically, a pinch, pain. It's like, well, this pain that I'm feeling is not unique to me. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's even a good way of explaining that, honestly. Because everyone can feel pain if you pinch. And I think he's going to actually, well, it's true that everyone should be able to experience Brahman Atman. So it's not a unique experience then. I don't know. Let's continue on.
But how do you know that there was a photographer?
Someone had to take
because
the picture.
There is the photograph. Yeah. Exactly in the same way, how do you know that there is consciousness? I can't see consciousness as an object. I can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. Well, to hear, smell, taste, touch anything, to think, to remember, to love, to hate, even to doubt that there is consciousness, you have to be conscious. Mm-hmm. Shankaracharya says, it is the very self of the one who doubts that there is such a self. Without that, you could not doubt. Who is the one doubting? What is the one doubting?
I don't know why that was so hilarious to me. In order to doubt, you have to be able to be aware that in order to doubt yourself, you have to be able to acknowledge yourself to doubt yourself. And I guess the example, maybe I thought about it a little bit. So pinching is something that we objectively can do to everyone. So therefore there's a physical manifestation of the pinching and pain, whereas the realization of Atman is not something that, I don't know, that we can objectively do of self-realization. Because I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know how to explain that.
If you say everything is a dream, it means there is one thing which is not a dream. What is that?
You.
The dreamer, exactly. There must be something beyond the dream to dream the dream. To experience all of this, there
Yeah.
must be an experiencer, which is not part of these things.
Yeah.
So, aprameya points to the fact that why you cannot experience it through the sense organs or the mind, but it also points to where you can find the self. Beyond the sense organs, beyond the mind, you are that consciousness which, shining through the mind and the sense organs, you experience the world and this body and mind.
Yes, that you cannot deny that. That is undeniable. Absolutely. I wasn't trying to deny that. I was just trying to find a way to explain, I guess, through example about objective experience and subjective experience. And I was trying to find a way to say that Atman, how you experience yourself through subjective matters, because not everyone comes to realization the same way of Atman or Brahman. Some people through meditation, some people through devotion, some people through knowledge, some people through action. All different ways of experiencing or devoting experience yourself or realization of Atman and Brahman. Methods, should I say, or whatever it may be. Whereas pain is something that everyone, generally speaking, if your pain senses are working, that you would feel if everyone were to pinch you, and if you pinch everyone else, they would also feel the exact same thing.
Aprameya. It's not an object of the pramanas, instruments of knowledge. Goes further. One more point and then I'm done. It is akarta abhokta. Akarta abhokta. Very interesting point. Sri Krishna says that nahanti nahanyate. It neither kills, the Atman neither kills nor is slain. Remember, the context was the Kurukshetra battle, the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So that's why the language is slayer or slain. But the philosophical import of this, the philosophical meaning of this is, it's neither a doer nor an experiencer. Consciousness by itself is not a doer. It's not an agent of action. Consciousness associated with the body and mind, associated with this body and mind, becomes the doer of actions. Consciousness associated with the body and mind, the sense organs, becomes the experiencer of a world. But without a body and mind in itself, it's neither a doer nor an experiencer. In Sanskrit, akarta abhokta. But the way Krishna puts it in the Gita is, it neither slays nor is slain. And Emerson, his famous poem, Brahma, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he wrote a poem called Brahma. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's a very well-known poem. And it's a direct translation of, I think, the 19th verse of the Bhagavad Gita. If the red slayer thinks he slays, or the slain think he is slain, neither know the subtle ways. I come, I keep, I pass, and I return. I keep means I am here. I pass means I die. And return means I again come back. That is the subtle body, of course. But beyond that is the Atman. He says if this red slayer, why red slayer? Because it's a warrior. He's referring to Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So nowadays there's these, what do they call, cliff notes or something, study notes. So there's a study note to Brahma which says here Emerson is referring to the Vedantic text Gita. And so he had a wonderful collection of Hindu philosophical texts, 45 books in those days. Red slayer thinks he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, neither know the subtle ways. So you are not the doer of deeds, nor the experiencer of the results as Atman. But as limited by body and mind, with the subtle body, you become the doer of deeds and the experience of Atman, of the results. The deeper meaning is this. A fundamental idea in all Indic religious systems is karma. Action and its results. Cause and effect. Consequences. Causes have consequences. Actions have consequences. Cause and effect. Do good, the result will be pleasant. Do you be consciously naughty, the result will be unpleasant. So this is basically oversimplified version of the law of karma. Now, as Swami Vivekananda put it, good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. But whosoever wears a form, remember here, consciousness limited by body-mind. Whosoever wears a form wears the chain too. What is the chain? Law of karma. Whatever we have set in motion in births past will have their consequences in this birth. Whatever we set in motion now will have consequences further on. What does Vedanta offer in this chain of karma? Because Vivekananda says none escape the law. He says, but far beyond name and form is Atman ever free. Know thou art that, sannyasi bold. Say Om Tat Sat Om. This Atman, this pure consciousness, which Krishna is talking about, is ever free, and that is what you are. When we realize ourselves as that, we realize ourselves as the non-doer. One verse in the Bhagavad Gita which Krishna repeats 3 times. The same idea, that we are actually the non-doer, we are the non-doing pure consciousness. Not that he's asking you not to do anything. Imagine, the Gita is very interesting. He says you are the non-acting pure consciousness. And then he urges Arjuna into action. Knowing yourself to be that non-doing pure consciousness, with body and mind, engage in action. With a purified mind and body, engage in action, which is for the welfare of the world, which is the worship of the Lord. So, akarta abhokta, non-doing. When you realize yourself as that, far beyond name and form is Atman ever free. 3 times Sri Krishna repeats this. 13th chapter he says, Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha ya pashyati tathatmanam akattaram sapashyati. Prakriti alone does everything. Prakriti means nature. Alone does everything in this world, including this body, including this mind, including all the actions done by body and mind. One who realizes that, then realizes that I am the non-doing pure consciousness. Akarta. Akarta means not agent. You realize that is the true nature of ourselves. But don't get confused. He's not telling you to sit quietly. Oh, I have realized that I am the non-doer, so I will not do anything. With body and mind, Krishna points out again and again, with body and mind, you cannot but act. Action will continue. You cannot stop acting with the body and mind. Body and mind will keep doing. You are the witness consciousness. Keep acting with body and mind. Do what is to be done. Then you are free of the bondage of karma. A devotee, one who is on the path of bhakti, instead of taking this path, this is the path of Sankhya or Jnana. Devotee on the path of bhakti will say, I devote all my actions to the Lord. By the grace of the Lord alone, I have this body. By the grace of the Lord alone, I have these senses and the mind. And so all that is the Lord's, I offer back unto the Lord. It's the same idea. Basically the same idea. But it's with devotion and love, and it's much more appealing sometimes to the heart of the devotee. All right, we could go on and on. The Gita is 18 chapters long, but this is the core idea. The one takeaway from this is, this Atman I am. What Atman? Summing up, immortal, nitya, avinashi. I am not born with the birth of the body. I do not die with the death of the body. Who is born with the birth of the body? The subtle body gets embodied in a physical body. Who experiences death? The subtle body experiences death with the death of the physical body. But I am not born with the body. I do not die with the body. I am indestructible. That's number 1. Number 2, that I am the reality of this universe. Everything apart from me, the Atman, is an appearance. Atma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Third, this Atman, the real nature, the paramarthik, the absolute nature of the Atman, this pervades this entire world of appearance. Just as the dreamer's mind pervades the entirety of your dream world, you, the consciousness, you pure being, you pervade this world. Pervade means this world borrows its existence from you. Remember, intrinsic property and extrinsic or accidental property. Third, so that's the third thing. You pervade everything. Sounds philosophical. There are tremendous practical implications. Everyone you meet is fundamentally you yourself. The good and the bad and the ugly. Every experience in your life, good and bad, whatever it is you only. There's nothing apart from you. Whom will you criticize? Whom will you hate?
Yourself.
When the Atman is but one, you are but one. Then whom to hate, whom to criticize, whom to praise? All pervading. This is the meaning. The fourth one is a very philosophical but very important meaning. It is not an object of the senses. Aprameya. Not an object of the mind. It's not a thing. The Atman is not a thing out there. It's, follow this carefully, it's not even a thing in here. In here and out there, both of them are appearing in you, the Atman. Atman is not an object. Don't try to objectify it. You are it. And by your light, everything is lit up. You shining, all else shines after you. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. That shining, everything else shines. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. By its light, by your light, everything here is lit up. It's not poetry. It's a literal reporting of the truth. The world outside, good and bad. The mind inside, calm and restless. They're all lit up by you, the unchanging consciousness. What else are you other than that? And finally, you are akarta bhokta. The real you. You are not the doer, nor the experiencer of the results of actions. You are forever free of karma. Karma is regarded as the bondage which traps us in samsara. But you are forever, you already are free of karma. You have to recognize that. You have to own it up. You have to say, I am that one which is forever free of karma. Whatever happens on the screen, whatever the plot of the movie, the screen is free of the plot. Tragedy or comedy, the screen is free of it. Not only free of it, it's the screen which enables the tragedy or the comedy to happen. Right? You are the Atman, free of samsara, but because of you, samsara is happening. Look at the wonderful nature of this thing. All right. So these are the 5 things about the Atman which we should think about. Take it seriously. This is the essence of the teaching of Vedanta, and I would say in a general sense of all spirituality in the world. It's the saving knowledge. I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda. May this Atma Jnana, this knowledge of the Atman, the realization of the Atman, it's realization, not just knowing about it, may dawn upon us in this very life. Swami Vivekananda, he said the essence of religion, each soul is potentially divine. Each soul is potentially divine means we are that Atman already. But why potential? He says because we have not manifested it or realized it yet. The goal of life is to realize this divinity within and to manifest it in our daily lives. Manifest it means live it. Not just listen to a nice lecture, not just feel, oh, I'm cool, I'm the Atman. And then lose your temper at every little irritation, be upset because things do not go the way this particular little creature wants it to go. No. Manifesting it means literally becoming a saint in your day-to-day life. Don't try to be a saint. Try to know yourself as the Atman. You will see, lo and behold, you have become a saint. You might not be a card-carrying saint, but saint so-and-so. But that's what your life, you'll be transformed. Our lives will be transformed, and very quickly. If you struggle to gather and cultivate the qualities of a saint, it's a lifelong struggle and pretty difficult and dull and dreary. If you own up to this insight that I am this Atman, you will see immediately a change in the thought, in the emotions, the way you think and feel, and the way you deal with people and events in your life. A lot of peace will come. A great release will come upon you. The more we think about this, a great lightness comes upon us. Fear of death diminishes. I won't say disappears, it diminishes. It becomes diminished. The horrid reality of a world oppressing us, it becomes shimmery because it's not real apart from you. You feel free of the bondage of karma. You realize yourself as light, as pure awareness right now. I pray to them that this may become a reality in our lives. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
Okay. So I guess again, this is something that I believe along when I first started this journey to even today. The consciousness, which I believe he says consciousness, Atman, and Brahman are all the same thing. I kind of see it a little bit differently, and again, this is based on my personal experience, and to back that up, kind of like what Sadhguru and Swami Sarvapriyananda said, is not to believe but to experience. So as far as my experience has told me that I'd say consciousness, but maybe not Atman, is in my mind. I believe that because there's nothing that I've experienced outside of that yet. I'm still open, obviously, but I cannot genuinely believe in something that I don't believe in. I'm not going to do that. I have to try to stay true to myself. I'm not just going to believe just for believing's sake. And so far as my way of life and my belief is that the consciousness, the I, is in your brain. It's not the entirety of the brain. It's kind of like how our brain has different functions. One of the pieces in your brain is your consciousness. And other than the location of the consciousness, everything still applies in what Swami Sarvapriyananda has said, that you cannot see that part of the brain, but you can experience all the other parts of the brain, the emotional part, the feelings or five senses part, or the idea part, or the temperature part of your brain. All of that you can experience from that one part of the brain, the consciousness part of the brain. As I live this life, that is my experience, and that is what I believe. Again, I'm going to say I believe. I have no proof of that at all. And hey, if you say you don't believe me, thank you. Don't believe me. Please do not. Sadhguru would say the same thing. Swami Sarvapriyananda will say the same thing. You must experience it yourself. And which I genuinely do believe. In that following, that do not believe in anyone. Experience yourself. Make sure it makes sense to you. Just don't believe in anyone automatically. Now, if you have a trust with someone and a lot of what they say is true, again, still don't automatically just believe in them, but understand what they say and try to experience what they say. How do I say that? Just take what anyone says into consideration and to see if you believe it to be true or not. Just don't automatically believe in anyone. What else? I had an idea of something at the end. I just can't remember. But, anyways, I guess that's it. I can't remember. Well, anyways, that's the end of The Atman by Swami Sarvapriyananda. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about everything anyway. Whether you disagree, agree, or whatever. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next vid.